you nailed it while you were talking. I was thinking there's probably not a whole lot of territory that hasn't been mapped in detail over there, right? Like it's not like America where there's, or even in my state in West Virginia, there's miles and miles that nobody goes to. Like there's places that no one has went to in years.
Yeah.
I just imagine I've never been over there, but I kind of picture it a little different. Like you guys probably have a more thorough grasp on your regions, right?
I would say yes. I mean, definitely in comparison to somewhere like the United States. I mean, I was even astonished whilst landing in Atlanta airport, just for some change. I think I had to connect there somewhere. I was astonished by the endless forest that I saw just stretching out to the horizon. I thought this is around the airport. You know,
Right.
this I'm not assuming we're in the woods here. This is just a bit of forest, and yet I can't see the end to it. So no, we don't have areas like that, but it's topographically the UK is actually it's very surprising. So I went looking for this information because, of course, when you talk about things like this, the first thing that comes back to you is always, well, you know, the UK is not really that big. There's 67 million people who live there. Doesn't have huge forests, so where are these creatures living? And I went searching for some evidence as to could there be, if they do exist, could there be somewhere where they could hide? Excuse me. And what I found was something called the UK National Ecosystem Assessment, which was obviously taken, to look at the land we have and how it's being used, and is it healthy? Is there room? This was done in 2012, fair enough, but not a lot has changed since then. And what they actually were surprised to discover is that only 6.8% of the UK's entire land area could be classified as urban. There's a whopping 93% of the UK combined that's not urban. And then they looked into the land itself. So they found that 54% of the land in the towns and cities was also green space, parks, allotments, football fields, railway sidings, um, and waterways.
Yeah.
So
So there's plenty of places to hide.
yeah, there is, and you find that a lot. Sorry to jump in here, but when you step outside, I live just on the edge of London. When you step outside for even a mile, 2 miles, suddenly you're in the countryside, and British people are on the path kind of people. We don't have a lot of wild campers or many hunters.
Right.
We go for these walks in the countryside, and we go along these regulated paths and places where it's easy to get back from.
Right.
I think there's room for something to hide. Doesn't mean it's there, but there is room.
I love it. I love it because I've watched some wild campers on YouTube because I know
Yeah,
it's pretty strict out there about where
it
you're
is.
allowed to
Yeah,
camp and stuff.
yeah.
And I watch them and I think, how cool of a place would that be to go? Because you don't have to worry about large predators. You don't have to worry
Mm.
about bears and mountain lions and wolves. Like, but I see something like what you're writing about, and you got Bigfoot and Dogman and all these fairy folk, and
Yeah,
everybody feels so safe,
and 20 or 30 of those look very um, reasonable, as far as reports are concerned, descriptions, etc., without Bigfoot on the brain and other issues like that. Could there be something like a British Bigfoot in the UK? I don't know, but it does intrigue me, And in the book, I actually wrote a whole section about it, even to look at as well as a few sightings, even to look at the possibilities of what could indicate that they're here. So, for example, could they be a derivative or some sort of extant Neanderthal still living on, hidden in the country? Um, how would they have got here? This is an island. And then we looked into things like the Doggerland Bridge that used to exist between Europe and Britain, which was possibly submerged about 6,000 years ago, and out of which they've dredged up and trawled up many um, tools and skeletons and mammoths and all kinds of other bones and indicators of a landmass that was once occupied. there, and it's fascinating to me, as
It
well
is.
as we mentioned earlier, looking at the holy history, the pomp and the pageantry of how these creatures might have been represented in the past.
Right. That's interesting that they would have them on cathedrals and religious landmarks and stuff like that.
Oh yeah,
Um,
yeah,
it must have been revered pretty highly.
yeah. I mean, there's another possible theory